A week flies by, doesn't it? Feels like we just beat Liverpool 3-1, but we've got to do it all over again. Only this time it's a trip to West Ham. City and Liverpool got their wins. Tottenham nicked one at the very end, so Arsenal need to respond. Of course, Villa play United later. We'll react to that a little bit during the full-time show. By the way, download the AFTV Plus app so you can have your say on that show later. But now, we're going to have a look at the starting 11, which is out in about 29 minutes or so. And we'll talk about what we want to see and react when it comes out even. Welcome back to the show. Welcome to Lucy. Welcome to Troy. Welcome to Dan. It's West Ham versus Arsenal.
Clap today. We're Turkish.
Turkish in here, so we can clap.
Clap,
man. Yeah. He makes a good point. Why do we? What we're clapping for? I guess we're just clapping for.
Positive, man.
Pick each other up.
Yeah. That's it.
It lifts the mood.
There we go. Very true. How are we all?
Very well,
good,
man.
Yeah.
Good.
All well. Troy, you were at the game last week. Fan came outside the ground after. I saw you very happy.
5 rows back in the North Bank, man.
Yeah.
And the people that I know who go there more regularly, they said the atmosphere was unlike anything they'd seen this
Really?
season.
Yeah, man.
Really?
And Arteta said as much in the press conference after the match as well. He said the fans really did it.
Yeah.
And to be honest, you saw the video that we released before kickoff as a club. Everyone had to be up for that.
Yeah.
Everyone
Yeah,
had
true.
to be up for that.
Yeah.
And it showed, right? But the risk with something like that is the fans and the players get themselves up here.
Mm-hmm.
How do you then deal with going away to West Ham and it's not quite that same level, right? That's the real mark of champions. I always use the analogy, not that anyone here probably watches cricket, but if you hit a 6 in cricket, the best thing you can do is just get a single after that and rotate the strike. Keep it ticking.
Yeah.
And that's what I want us to do today, man.
Good analogy, I hear it. Lucy, do you think that has woken up the Emirates a little bit? Because there have been kind of slight murmurings from fans that, the Emirates isn't what it was last year. People are having a go at the ballot system a little bit. People are talking about whether maybe the crowd have got a bit, I don't know, used to Arsenal being good again very quickly. Felt like we fought so long to get Arsenal to that point. I don't go often enough to really have too big an input, and when I have been there, I've been to 3 home games this season. I actually think the crowd has been fine. I think it's been more the style of play has maybe brought it down a little bit. But did we need that just to inject something into our season a little bit?
Oh, 100%. I feel like as well, if anything, if it doesn't go our way today, it's pretty humbling as well, considering we've just apparently over-celebrated and whatever. Obviously, I feel like that's the big hype right now about we can't win as Arsenal fans. I don't think you can win if you lose, you're bottling it and you're throwing it all away and being delusional. And then if you win and you celebrate that, because it was a big game to put us back in that title race. So I feel as though we can't really win, but definitely, hopefully that energy, obviously being away, it's not the best with Rice's reaction as well.
But that's why if it's anything but 3 points today, there will be a media pylon. Absolute pylon.
It'll be you're not taking photos now. It'll be all that rubbish.
I think that's where the majority of my notes come from for today, right?
Do the players
100%.
care about any of that though, Dan? Are the players sitting there and they're going, "Oh, we took photos, man. We're going to have to win this." I feel like the one thing I'll say about this Arsenal team, whether they've got the quality to fully get it over the line with the big trophies, ready trophies. Obviously, we haven't won one since 2020. Whether they've got the ability to keep up with City, because I think we can with Liverpool. I think for all my questions around that, I don't actually question their focus. That's the one thing I'll say about this group. I think can they get a bit caught up in it? Yeah. But when I say focus, I mean, we used to watch Arsenal teams and go, they don't look up for it. They don't even look like they're taking themselves seriously. This group, I think, for well over a year and a half, 2 years now, has taken themselves very seriously in everything they're competing for.
Listen, we rattled a lot of people last week, right? It was brilliant, and we enjoyed it, and it was fun, and it was meltdowns from medias. But all that stops now. That's done. We enjoyed that. We had the right to enjoy it for a few days, and I think the players are the same. Enjoy it, but focus and keep focused today, because all of that will come crashing down if we do not pick up 3 points today. Everyone will laugh at us. Everyone will say, "Where's your camera, Odegaard?" You know what's going to happen. It's all written in the stars for them. And to be fair to the media, it was written in the stars from last weekend. Arsenal's title race is over in February. They're 8 points behind Liverpool, and we didn't allow that. So we can't allow it to happen today. And I think in terms of the actual players, we are still an emotional team. We are still an emotional fan base at times. We're still quite a young side as well, so obviously that doesn't help things. And a young manager as well. But I think there's another point to prove today. This is a point to prove, not just for the fact of what I've just said in terms of how we can react from the Liverpool result, but actually shutting West Ham fans up, because they're starting to build this rivalry for no reason.
You've started
for
hating
me,
them.
I got no understanding of this.
I don't get
we
this
bought
rivalry.
Declan Rice, and now it's I hate Arsenal more than Tottenham. Do you know what I mean? They've always hate Arsenal more than Chelsea. I hate Arsenal. Let's pile on them. Very bizarre.
Well, you're on stream with a lot of them on your channel as well, right? So you probably get
It's
it
horrible
more
for me,
than
bro.
most.
It's horrible for me. Everyone knows Dan Lawless and what he's like, right? But when it comes to
Big
me,
up Dan Lawless.
it's mad, because he says, this is one thing that Dan Lawless says. if we lose, it don't matter. We've already won because it's 2-1. How many times have we bashed West Ham home and away over the years and gone, wait, West Ham 2-0 this season? No, never. That never happened. So why is this a thing now? Very bizarre. But the boys got to do the job today, man.
You mentioned Declan Rice, Lucy.
Yeah.
We did previews down there. But we said, like, has he had a little bit of a warm up into this big game? Because obviously he's travelled back to the London Stadium already with that Carabao Cup game. He's now played already once in the league where the pressure's really on the back of the Liverpool game, you know, in the thick of a title race. So none of this is uncharted territory for him. He's had that little bit of a warm up. He's played this ground before. He's played in big games for Arsenal. For me, I think we can, you know, Nicky said on Box to Box that those are the worst 2 games he's ever seen Declan Rice play were for Arsenal against West Ham. But that's it now. Like, we'll forgive him for those. Yeah. But there's no reason now for this to be like some hostile atmosphere. Even the fact that the Carabao Cup was an evening game, and this is like, you know, bang in the middle of the day on a Sunday. Like, we got to see him step up in this one. Yeah,
as I say, I feel like there's no excuse. Like, obviously, first game back, there's always that reaction, no matter how much they meant to that club. Yeah. Obviously, Rice did mean a lot to that club. So I'm sort of hoping that they now acknowledge that they've moved on, we've moved on. Like, everyone sort of hopefully can leave that in the past, that sort of vibe.
Now they haven't moved on.
I was going to say.
Okay, we've moved on. We need to be the bigger club.
We need Rice to have moved on.
Yeah.
We need Rice to have moved on.
No, but I feel like he should. There's literally no excuses. I do get those nerves going back the first time, even playing them. But if anything, there should be more fire in him that we've lost to them both times since he's been back to his old club. Like, that's pretty humbling for him. So I feel like we need to actually use that and twist it and be like, right. But yeah, definitely no excuses. But his link-ups with like Jorginho, like covering each other and everything like that, I have confidence in him that he will do it. And he's been so good for us, so I don't doubt him, but he just needs to obviously put emotions to the side.
I think that's a really good point, bringing up Jorginho and all this, because he's going to need a hand in that midfield. You know, let's look at the 2 games, right? He came on for 30 minutes when we were 3-0 down already in the Carabao Cup game, which felt a waste of a substitution. But then I guess if he doesn't do it, then people are saying Arteta's throwing it away, so whatever, fine. But in that game, the midfield just had no cohesion, rotated team. Now, the West Ham game at home, I went to that game, Trossard was playing in that kind of left 8 position. He's not really looked it in that area. Now, if you can get Jorginho next to him, then both of them have responsibility to take charge of that midfield, let Odegaard get close to Havertz like we did in that game. I know those are specific tactics we used against Liverpool and they worked, but I don't want to see the makeup of that midfield altered because it gives Rice help in there. He's brilliant. He's largely done it all this season by himself. But this is a tricky away game. He's going to need some help, sure.
This West Ham game it's a really sort of bespoke animal, right? I'm not going to be sitting there and talking about the need to protect Declan Rice for the vast majority of games in this season. But what we've just said about the fact that there's probably his 2 worst performances came against West Ham. Yeah. You look at how comfortable he looked next to Jorginho. It just makes sense to go with the safer option in that situation, just in case Declan Rice isn't quite at it for the first half an hour or whatever. Let him go into the game with the confidence that he's got a very, very accomplished midfielder next to him. That for me is a no-brainer.
You'd go for the same, wouldn't you, Dan?
I'll go as far to say as if he messes about with his midfield, I'm going to be pissed. Right, because I don't want to see Havertz drop back into this role. I don't want to see Smith Rowe start today. I want to see Jorginho and Declan Rice playing in the double pivot. If they don't play in the double pivot, play Jorginho in the 6 and let Rice go forward in the 8. And then have Odegaard, who I believe was a lot more free-flowing against Liverpool because of that complementary
I thought
double
it was
pivot.
one of his best games in a while.
It was, man. I want to see that. And, you know, people will highlight Kudus and Bowen, absolutely, right? But their midfield is actually quite strong and dominant. You know, if Calvin Phillips plays or not, you've got Alvarez there. You've still got James Ward-Prowse, who we all know is very good on set pieces, right? So they've got players there that can actually do some damage to us. So we need to dominate that position of the pitch. And as for Declan Rice, I kind of want this love affair with West Ham for him to stop now. That's done. Forget about it. You're an Arsenal player now. You're a gooner. You've had a couple of poor performances against West Ham. It's your time to put it right. And I think you will today. And I think you said earlier he needs a bit of help in there. I think Jorginho has actually been more than helpful for him. And I think that that's the best trio I've seen since Partey, Xhaka, Odegaard of last season. This season was the best by far. So I hope it continues, man.
Football's funny, isn't it? Let's cast our minds back 15 months back, right? And Arsenal fans were debating with West Ham fans whether Partey was better than Rice. And I was in the camp that Partey was better than Declan Rice. 15 months on, remember Jorginho is a Chelsea player at this point. I'm hearing Dan Potts live on AFTV say, I'll be pissed if Rice and Jorginho don't start. I mean, how
it's
quickly
scary.
things change, right?
It's crazy, and I'll go as far, you know, when we signed Jorginho, I think I even tweeted out saying, really? Question mark.
No,
I was so
probably did.
deflated because we were linked with Caicedo, right?
Yeah.
So everyone was deflated. Oh, we've got the Jorginho and we went for Caicedo. How did that happen? Do you know what? He's actually been all right. He was £10 million, was he? Or is it rising to 12, whatever it was?
Yeah.
He's already given that back to us in terms of his play.
Yeah,
I think he's had some very consistent performances for Arsenal in midfield. Yeah, he's had some bad games, for sure. But I don't look at Jorginho, I think it's a flop of a signing.
No, at all.
And I thought it was going to be, if I'm honest. When we signed him, I thought, really? Oh, that's meh compared to what we could have had. You know, El Nini and Jorginho over here in our midfield if Rice and Partey get injured. I still think Partey is sensational. People forget how good he is. People will say now Rice is better than Partey. I still kind of disagree with that. I think Rice is fantastic, but Partey is ridiculously good, like when he's fit.
On the ball, when at his best, as a deep line playmaker, for me, Partey still edges it. Rice as a ball winner is superb. But I know
different attributes, yeah.
On the Jorginho thing, right? Like, I was worried that we were getting a Willian. I was worried that we were just, Willian 2.0. And I say 2.0, but I mean, I did a video on my channel looking at our former Chelsea signings.
6.0.
But yeah. Ben Ayoun on loan did okay. David Luiz, big in the cup games, but didn't have the impact over 2 seasons. Czech, I thought, was poor for us, if I'm really honest. Gallas, like, there were so many, right?
The son of Diarra.
I put Jorginho at the top of that list of players we signed from Chelsea. And a big reason why with Jorginho was Arteta recognised he wasn't a long-term answer to Partey because he spent £100 million on Declan Rice and basically played him in the sixth whenever possible. So clearly he saw Jorginho as his ceiling for Jorginho's role in this team was our ceiling as well. So that was a good thing. But then Jorginho's come in, superb at St James's Park, superb against Chelsea in their home game. We won 3-0, 3-1 or whatever. Brilliant in the Man City home game. Brilliant in the Liverpool home game. I thought he was good at St James's Park, even in the game we lost. So he stepped up in really big games for us, Jorginho, and he's just he's played a part.
Declan Rice said it himself in the post-match last week. He said, when I came here, I was thinking about guys like Partey and so forth, but I've been learning from Georgie, right? And I think they were asking Arteta in the press conference in the build-up to this, they were like, Jorginho's nickname apparently is the radio because he just doesn't stop talking.
Really? That's good.
But in a communicative, leader-like way, right? And that ultimately, when you have a young team, is something that you desperately, desperately need, especially when you lose Granit Xhaka. People can say what they want about Granit in terms of ability on the pitch. I don't think anyone's having that conversation right now, given what he's doing at Leverkusen. But what everyone said around him was he was a leader and a talisman in that dressing room. So you lose that, you really do need to bring that back in. And don't forget, Jorginho, how many times did we have a window where we were after a player that was identified as the man that Arteta wanted or the man that Wenger wanted or whatever? We don't get him, but there's no plan B. We don't do the pragmatic business after that to follow it up, and we just leave the gap there. The Jorginho signing did not allow that gap to persist, right? And that's why it was a smart bit of business, just from the outset.
Yeah, very, very true.
Do you think it's because there was less pressure on him, though, when he came in? Because obviously everyone was focusing so much on Rice. Like, he was the big player we were signing, all eyes were on him, especially with games like West Ham. Like, he was going to crack under pressure, basically, because of the pressure we as fans were putting on him, but also others. Do you think because there was that pressure, whereas Jorginho sort of just coming calm, like you said, with his leadership, he's been able to, I don't know, just play his football without all the media looking at him? And the games he plays, he's able to prove himself because there's not as much
weight on him. The better comparison for me, I would argue that Chelsea fans feel pretty similarly about Havertz and as they feel Jorginho when they both left the club. Maybe a little bit more appreciation for Jorginho, who played in Champions League for Havertz, scored in one. Yeah. Like, I think basically Chelsea fans are happy to get rid of both. So the point you're making, I think, is true, but I think Havertz is the better example because Havertz came for 65 million, and so there is that, are you giving me 65 million? Whereas Jorginho, I think he has to do a lot to justify 12 million. I think he's justified 30 million. I'm not joking. I think Jorginho has.
With everything that Jorginho has won, I just don't think that the pressure would affect someone who's that accomplished in the same way. I think that therein lies the difference, right? Because he doesn't feel like he has anything to prove to anyone because he's sort of like kind of been there and done that. I know what I'm about. Confident in my ability, secure in myself, right? And that air of confidence, ultimately, when he's on the ball, I'm not saying he's flawless, but you can see it.
Yeah,
you can see it.
We've got a poll going, 900 votes already. Keep getting your votes in. Rice, Jorginho, Ødegaard is the midfield that everyone wants to see with 76% of votes. 12% have gone for Smith Rowe, Rice and Ødegaard. Be interesting to see what Mikel Arteta goes with. We've got some super chats as well. Abdullah says, so there's two, Abdullah, so let me go to your first one. Says, don't think we need a Jorginho Rice double pivot versus a low block. We needed that to play through a high press. I'd go for Jesus up top if he's fit, an attacking midfielder of Trossard or Smith Rowe with Ødegaard and Rice. Abdullah then goes on to say that rest Jorginho for the big games. Another note, so I think you mean rest him so that he's available for the big games. I get what you're saying. Another note, a fit Partey is Arsenal's best player based on Arsenal's win rate with him in the team. Do you know why I disagree about the whole we don't need a double pivot is people see these things as really negative. It used to be like when Antonio Conte played back three and everyone would be like, oh, that's really negative. But actually the way his wing backs got up the pitch and then they had basically two inside forwards next to the striker, that Chelsea team were really attacking, really good to watch. Yeah. My thing is, and funnily enough, that shape on the ball is the same as our shape when Zinchenko inverts. So my thing is, it doesn't have to be negative having Jorginho and Rice because you can allow Rice to get forward a little bit more, Zinchenko can overlap, and you just tweak a few other things and you've basically still got the same build-up. Like, it doesn't have to be negative having 2 6s really.
But one of the reasons I do want Jorginho today is because I'm pretty sure that Zinni isn't going to be playing. And we don't really have that naturally inverting fullback who can then give you that control in the midfield. Right?
That's true.
And I think we have less control in the midfield when Zinchenko's out and you do have someone like a Smith Rowe in there. I think Jorginho gives you that control and he's going to have to compensate for the fact that Zinni's not there for me.
The other thing to touch on with Jorginho very quickly is Martinelli's been brilliant in the last couple of games because Jorginho's been playing. And I think it just stops this kind of left 8 position where no one really knows if who's going to play there. The Havertz has been there, the Smith Rowe has been there, Fabio Vieira has been there, Rice has been there. Actually, Martinelli's been great with Jorginho.
And David Raya's found him a lot.
Yeah, facts.
Very true, very true. And actually with Jorginho, and we saw a little bit in that Liverpool game where he was threading those balls, you know, in behind to Havertz. You know, the one where he kind of turned and he was facing towards goal. He's got that pass in him. But actually, when I look at his time at Arsenal, he's found that ball over the top often. Remember that opening goal against Sporting where Xhaka scored? But it was Jorginho who found the ball, I think, in beyond to Martinelli. And there was a few moments, there've been more than a few. I reckon if you came on against Palace, in the 5-0 win a couple of weeks ago, he's the one making those passing passes. I think you'll find with Jorginho that actually his ability to, in that final third, find that ball over the top, that lift. I'm not comparing him to Fabregas, but you know when Fabregas used to get in those pockets, and if you had to lift it, he'd lift it. If you had to roll it in behind, he'd roll in behind. Jorginho's kind of got that weight of pass. It looks like we're freeing him up to do more in that area as well. Left back, you touch on Zinchenko potentially being unavailable. Of course, he didn't play second half against Liverpool. We don't know. Did Arteta say anything in the press conference? I really should know this. Did Arteta say anything about Zinni? I don't think he did.
I think he literally. No. Yeah, I was going to say he might come back.
Even
but
if
not
he did,
I don't
you can't believe him.
It's kind of pointless.
It doesn't really matter.
He's always very hush-hush about it. Also, it's like, sure.
You're right, kind of pointless. But you'd go Tomiyasu, you said in the preview.
100, man. 100 I would. And I actually think Tomiyasu is a better left-back than Zinchenko. I love Zinchenko on the ball going forward. I think he's been pivotal to what Arsenal have been doing moving forward. But actually, when you look at him defensively, he's frail, man. And he's been beaten a couple of times. Tomiyasu one-on-one, I think he's the best defender we got. I think in terms of his aerial ability, best that we got. And against Kudus, I have more faith with him there than I do Zinchenko. That is literally the only reason I would play him today. And a lot of people might think, what a double pivot and Tomiyasu. How scared of you at West Ham? I'm not scared of West Ham, but I know what their threats are. They don't have that many West Ham yet. They're not like this team that are going to be peppering the goal of Arsenal. But we saw already what Kudus can do. We see that Bowen can get in behind. I would have more faith in Tomiyasu there in this position. But if Zinchenko is fit, I think he'll play.
So there are reports and rumours coming out, not reports, I should say rumours coming out, that Trossard's starting today.
Down the middle.
I hope so.
Interesting. I was going to say, after all our chat of Jorginho doesn't even start, like, that would just
If he's starting down the middle, that for me says, I'm going to play the players that I think can pick that lock.
Yeah.
That's ultimately what he's doing there. He doesn't think that we're going to have much long ball success in terms of having the target man in there. He thinks if the plan A doesn't work in terms of picking the lock, then I can bring on someone like Kai Havertz and just chuck him in the box so we can get those crosses in. I wouldn't be adversely opposed to seeing Trossard in the 9 if Jesus isn't fit, to be honest, but I don't want to see him in that midfield.
That's the other thing. It could be Rice, Trossard and Ødegaard in midfield. I don't want to see that.
No, I don't want to see that. I'm with you. I want to see Trossard, especially now he's getting some goals and he's doing some good work in the front line. What I would love, we did the Predict 11 and I was saying, he shouldn't change it. And I think Lee Judges and Laurie said a similar thing on Invincible podcast. The only change I think I would be, if he's forced to do something at left back, he's forced to do something at left back. But change that he wants to make tactically, Trossard in for Havertz is the only one I'd want to see. Because as that false line, you touched on that Fulham away win, but there were loads, Leicester away last season as well, and there were just games where he started in that false nine, and suddenly, I think Leeds at home, not Fulham at home, Palace at home last season, he dropped in as another 10. We'd form a little diamond, and suddenly you just couldn't get the ball off us in midfield. We had so many numbers, we overloaded those central areas of the pitch. That's the only one because Havertz up against, who is it, Zuma, I don't know, Ogbonna, Mavropanos, Aged, whoever it is, I don't actually fancy him to win that battle. I fancy him to be a nuisance. But away from home, I think there could be a lot of sort of, feeding off scraps. Let's get the ball and play. Get Jorginho in there, get Trossard in there. That's when I feel most comfortable. And I alluded to it in the Predicted 11. I didn't really believe Arteta would change the front line after what Havertz did. But if he does, I'd be over the moon with it personally.
I think Trossard as a false nine, I think I mentioned it before, has always been all right for me there. Craven Cottage last year, we were 3-0 up, 3 assists in the first half. Trossard was unreal. Unplayable in March, got man of the month, player of the month. But we didn't see him again really in April and May, and I thought that was harsh. Now when we have seen Trossard, it's come off from the bench, and he has been quite a good impact player. And I think from the left-hand side, he's been really good, and he has actually proven as to why potentially Mikel Arteta sees him as a substitute and not a starter. However, if we are going to see him ahead of Havertz, and if Havertz is not going to play there and Jesus is out, obviously Trossard's the one that I want to see there. So I wouldn't be against that. I just worry that if he hears rumours that he's starting, that Havertz is going to be up top, and Trossard might be behind in that attacking 8. But we'll have to see what happens, man. It won't be long before we find out.
We'll find out in about 8. Wait, how long?
8 about that.
Yeah, 8 minutes.
Around 8 minutes, yeah.
That'll do.
Oh, I can't tell the time suddenly. Lucy, does Trossard get your nod?
Yeah, instead of Havertz, definitely.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a bad thing if we go more defensive. Like, as in, I know this isn't maybe as big of a game as Liverpool, but we still need to treat it like a serious game that we don't want to concede. Obviously, we want to be scoring and everything, but I don't doubt like Martinelli and Saka when they're up there anyway, so it doesn't matter who's really there. But I do get what you're saying with the false nine. Like, I feel like that would work better as long as he's not in the midfield. Yeah,
I hear you. By the way, one of my favourite Twitter accounts is called Days Since a Trophy. And
I know.
It's the Spurs
I know
one.
it very well.
It just keeps popping up.
He's tweeted a Super Bowl special. Tonight will be the 58th Super Bowl, and every single one has taken place since Spurs last won a league title.
Brilliant.
What a great stat.
Yeah, man. I mean, can you imagine one having the idea to set that up, but two having the commitment to update it like daily?
Yeah, fair play, man.
Yeah.
It's incredible. It's incredible.
No, good on him. Anything else in terms of the 11 that we, you said Tomiyasu, for example. Does Arteta chuck him straight in? Like, feels quite bold. Who was it? Mitoma started yesterday for Brighton.
And looked good.
Son was on the bench. I think.
But then came on and looked good.
Play Tomiyasu.
Then came on and looked good.
I was saying,
man.
who would you even put instead of Tomiyasu? If
Well,
you've not
it's
got
either
Zinchenko.
Kiwior, isn't it? And I don't know. Well,
But we don't like him as
left
left back. No,
I don't like him as a left back.
I mean, when's our next game after this?
Not until Newcastle a week after, isn't it? Is it?
Is it next week? Got
Was
really
it Burnley?
carry on.
I think who's next? Burnley. Is it Burnley actually?
Burnley away.
Yeah, sorry, it's Burnley next.
Burnley
not
away,
Newcastle.
and then Newcastle home.
Yeah, so we've got a week.
There you go. And we've had a week in between this and the Liverpool game. And if I'm not mistaken, Tomiyasu was back. We just didn't put him in the squad for the Liverpool game, right? Or am I making that up?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure because they were
He's been
out the
back.
Asian
Yeah,
Cup,
Tomiyasu's
weren't
been
they?
back.
Tomiyasu, yeah, he was in the Liverpool squad.
He was short for the Liverpool squad, but he was back
with
for a
us.
few days.
He was with us.
Yeah.
Was he with the group, maybe? And had he just come back, maybe, and he was just sort of there?
I think we're
don't
getting
know.
at. He's not got jet lag from coming back 2 days ago.
He can play.
He can play, man.
And
He
it's
can
not like
play.
we have a Tuesday game. You know,
Yeah.
I mean,
I think-
if he's ready, play him, man.
I'm with Shiroy, man. And I think, as well, like, Kiwior just isn't a left back. I know he was all right against Liverpool when he came on at the second half, but let's just be real
Would
about
you
it.
move anyone
Tomiyasu's
over
better.
to put Kiwior in centre back, or?
Nah, Gabriel Saliba, that
I
partnership.
would say I wouldn't trust it, but
Yeah, that partnership's class. And I think for me, Tomiyasu, I think if you're looking at what a left back brings, a left back, not a footballer brings,
Yeah.
Tomiyasu's the guy, man.
I'll never forget, and everyone probably keeps bringing it up when they talk about Tommy, but I think one of the first times we saw him at left back was against Liverpool.
Against
Yeah.
Salah.
And he did a job on Salah, man. And what
Facts.
he did really well there, he cut out that diagonal. The one that Zinni keeps getting exposed on, Tommy cut that out aerially every single time, right? And that, I think today, Tommy isn't going to be up, or Zinni isn't going to be up, or Kiwior isn't going to be up against, I don't know, like an Ayew. You know, you're talking about Kudus and he interchanges with Bowen. These guys on the day are lethal.
And Ward-Prowse feeding them.
Exactly, and the one thing I would say, I think you're alluding to the fact that we shouldn't really be conceding, but today, crucially, I cannot have us concede first. because that changes the complexion of this entire game. Because this isn't like Liverpool, where if you concede first, they're going to come and go for the second and the third. They'll still be open and give you a chance. Concede first against this lot, you then have to really pick that lock, and that's where we struggle.
A lot of the comments are saying, it's going to be Trossard for Martinelli. Not that that's been confirmed anywhere, just that that's what they're thinking it will be. That makes me feel very differently about it. I'd rather see Martinelli, Havertz, Saka than I would Trossard, whatever he does up front. Saka.
I'm not saying I agree with it, but I can explain the logic.
Yeah, go on.
Martinelli is great when there's space in behind, and we're not anticipating too much space in behind. So he thinks that Trossard is probably the more effective outlet there, if that happens.
No part of you thinks that, West Ham might have a bit of a go here. They've got the players to do it. Koufal and Emerson, they do get up the pitch. I don't know.
I don't think there'll be anywhere near as much space as we had last week. And that's when
No, I agree with that.
And that's when
I agree with
Martinelli
that.
looked incredible.
Well, this is another point from Gavin. Is it Trossard for Saka? Saka did come off against Liverpool.
I don't think Saka's ever going to get replaced. I feel like Arteta will play him, even if his leg's broken, he'll be on there.
I'm pretty sure it's in
For
Saka's
sure.
contract, regardless.
literally.
Yeah.
I'm playing 85 minutes a game minimum.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the club
Yep.
pays me a fine. That's got to be how it works.
Yeah, you're probably
So-
right.
Trossard
Yeah.
plays, it'll
I
either
don't
be he's
see that.
replacing Havertz or he's replacing Jorginho playing in the 8. That's the only two things, surely. Because surely Trossard, Havertz and Saka, I don't know, there's something about that I don't like. Yeah, there's something about that I don't like.
It feels like it lacks a bit of penetration, really, in terms of
a little bit
some
of flair,
pace.
yeah,
something,
yeah.
Paul the Super Chat says Arsenal 4, West Ham 1 is his prediction. Could Arsenal put in a bit of a statement? Could they go? Because I saw Liverpool, I didn't watch the Burnley game. I'm sure they thoroughly deserved to win. They won 3-1.
No.
They were 1-0 up.
No, Fofana could have scored 2. He had clear one-on-one.
Really?
Yeah, and after that, Liverpool then get 1. But honestly, these were one-on-ones where I'm talking.
Yeah, Fofana
I know
should
it's
score.
at least one of them. I know guys. I'm not just saying this. I know guys at goals that probably would have put those away. It was bad.
Really?
It was
Okay.
bad. Yeah.
This is why I'll always be honest if I haven't watched a game,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
you don't want to go, well, Liverpool looked good, they won 3-1. It's like, well, did you watch it? I know City were definitely made to, work really hard against Everton.
No shot
They
on
were
target in the
frustrated.
first half.
There you go. They were frustrated in that game. Have we got the opportunity to watch, two title rivals come through what should be comfortable home games? Okay, they made it that in the end. If we got the opportunity to chalk off a West Ham away after Liverpool at home, Forest away, we did a video on this channel. We looked at the upcoming 5 games and we said we've got easily the hardest. But if we come through that and we're only 2 behind Liverpool, 3 behind City, we know that their games are coming. And that could be a really good, even if we haven't actually made up the ground, which we have on Liverpool by beating them, but even if we haven't necessarily made up much ground, just to get through some of our fixtures, I think could be a big message being sent to the title rivals. Anyone agree?
Do you think that Pep Guardiola and Man City even care about the messages that other clubs send, given that they're on a 10
They're
win-
literally just
10
focused.
wins in
Trying
a
to be
row?
hopeful.
10 wins in a row, about to do 4 in a row if they win this league. I mean, I get it in terms of the psyche, but I just can't see it affecting teams of that ilk, man. I just think they go on about their business. They win, they win, they win, they win.
I don't think it. Let's put it this way, right? It keeps them focused, at least.
Yeah. Keeps them honest,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah. And that's
Yeah,
all you want to do.
What you always just said there is what we should be doing, basically. Because we beat West Ham today. We've got some favourable pictures, James. Yeah, I know we've got Porto coming up and the Champions League gets back into involved in things, but we've got Sheffield United away, we've got Burnley away, we've got Brentford at home, we've got Newcastle at home. Winnable games, yeah? We
Is that the
drop points in
upcoming
those.
4?
They're the upcoming ones after West Ham, I believe, right?
I'll have a little look.
We drop points in them. We don't deserve the title. You can't go to Burnley and lose or drop points.
Yeah.
Likewise, Sheffield United away. Newcastle at home, I'd fancy ourselves in a moment with the way they're playing. Yeah, they can be got at. Brentford, likewise, they're struggling towards the bottom end of the table that they weren't doing last season. So I look at it. I also look at it from last season and think we couldn't beat Brentford and Newcastle at home last season. We've got to this season because we couldn't win the league last year, so we can't copy our results. We've got to better them. Yeah, so there's no excuses. Today, you take one game at a time. We don't look too far ahead. I get all that. But when you look at what Manchester City are doing, they're just plugging away. That's what Arsenal got to do, man.
Waiting for the 11 to be confirmed. It has hit 1 o'clock, but of course Arsenal like to take their time. No one's expecting any other surprises, are they?
I hope not.
Oh, I've just heard Frank laughing.
Oh,
Frank, you all right?
Oh, he's not.
Lineup's out. All right, he doesn't sound too enthusiastic.
Wait, what is it?
Have we got a camera on Frank? I don't know if we do yet. We'll get Frank is back with the information station.
I think I just heard one name from Frank, so that's not a problem.
I've got it here, and he's done an Arteta.
Oh wow.
Raya starts. White, Saliba, Gabriel, Kivior.
Okay.
Rice, Havertz, Ødegaard, Saka, Martinelli, and Trossard.
Jorginho out.
And Kivior in.
And Kivior in.
Interesting.
See, this is exactly what I was saying about the protection for Rice, though. You don't have the inverting fullback in Zinni,
True.
and now you don't have Georgie next to Rice. That's what I was worried about.
Jorginho is on the bench. Tomiyasu is not on the bench.
Okay.
So the bench is Ramsdale, Cedric, Walters, Bandera, El Neni, Jorginho, Nelson, Nwaneri, and Eddie Nketiah. So where is Emil Smith-Rowe?
Good to see Bandera again on the bench. Anyone know who he is?
No.
Why is Smith Rowe not on the bench?
I don't understand what has happened there.
I don't get why.
What's going on?
Why is Havertz dropped back in to the
So is
midfield and then
Trossard up front?
Trossard's up top?
Or is Havertz in the middle? Who's playing up top? Havertz
Would they
or
put Trossard in the
man?
midfield?
Nah, man.
What is this?
Weird.
What was the front three?
Is this
Saka,
Saka,
Martinelli,
Martinelli,
Trossard.
Trossard?
Saka, Martinelli, Trossard.
So
that I
Trossard's
don't mind
playing
at
up
all.
top.
That I don't mind at all.
Yeah, but then why is Havertz? I don't like Havertz in
Havertz taking the
midfield.
8. Surely he's not playing Trossard in the 8 and Havertz up top against West Ham.
I don't know. I understand.
I don't
I
like
mean, we'll
this.
find out.
This man. I don't understand this. Like, this is madness. For me.
Look, there's enough quality in that team to win this game. I know everyone here looks like they've got food poisoning now, but it's not that bad.
Of course
win
there
that
is.
game.
Of course there is. But I just feel like
Unnecessary.
Arteta.
Put us against Kivior. Havertz in midfield. Nah, man. Win this game,
I'll
Mikel.
say with
Win this
Kivior.
game, Mikel. I'll tell
There's
you
going to
this
be
now.
rotations.
You lose this
There's
game.
gotta be.
Gabriel can cover Kivior in those situations a little bit too.
I'll say with the Kivior one, it looks like he didn't have a choice. Right, if
Tommy's not on the bench,
Tomiyasu
That's
isn't
a
on the
fair
bench
point.
and
And
Zinchenko's
Zinchenko's
out, then that is what it is. Why Tomiyasu's not ready, I don't know, but he's not even on the
That's
bench.
weird,
So
yeah.
I've got to sort of trust that. The Jorginho one, I don't understand. Now I think we're going to bring in Robbie and Cecil, who are going to give their reactions. They are, of course, out in Ghana. Go check out all the amazing content coming out from Ghana. Once this stream is finished, of course, you'll have watched a lot of it as well. But let's go over to Cecil and Robbie. I don't know if they're just giving us their thoughts or if I'm talking to them. Can they hear me? Hello, you all right?
Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear.
Oh, and I
Loud
can
and
just about
clear.
hear you. Carry on. How's it all going, everyone?
Yeah, no, really good. We're just getting ready to go to the big watch party over here. You know what I mean? There's going to be about 1,000 Arsenal fans out here, so really looking forward to it. Well, obviously, listening to you guys and heard the team. And of course, I'm just like a bit shocked that on the bench, no Smith Rowe. So is that another injury? And no Tomiyasu. I thought he would have, being back from the Asian Cup, he'd be ready at least on the bench. He's not even on the bench, so that's a bit of a surprise. And I guess when we were discussing it yesterday, we were saying, do we keep Jorginho in, which is what Cecil was saying. Although I was saying that we know they're going to play a low block. Do we need Jorginho in this game, or do we need a bit more attacking force to try and score goals against this team, which we didn't do last time we played them? So, yeah, a little bit. No Zinchenko as well. It's the injury thing, isn't it? As usual with Arsenal.
Yeah, there's that, and obviously we spoke about the front three there: Bukayo Saka, Martinelli, and Trossard. Those three start. We spoke about in the preview. I said they had a really good appearance last time they played, so it's good that they're starting. But they're quite short, and if we get the balls into the boxes against them West Ham defenders, it's something I worry about. But they have the quality enough to get.
But then
goals.
it could be maybe Havertz even playing as a striker, and maybe dropping Trossard into midfield, and maybe they change around. Who knows? But I always knew Havertz would start this game as well because his height is going to be important on set pieces. But listen, overall, I think I'm not too unhappy about the team. It's just really injuries, isn't it? As usual, where we never seem to be able to get our strongest team out in a game. But it is what it is.
Yeah, fair enough. I want to ask you about Smith Rowe. He's not on the bench again. We don't know exactly why that is. But another player that, gets a start at Forest. Kay didn't start against Liverpool, he was on the bench. Out the squad. We can only assume it's an injury, but of course, if there's anything else, of course, we'll address that. But frustrating, isn't it? That again, it's another game where we don't have a player where he might need to be there to pick a locket and do something difficult and different against a low block, but we don't have him available.
Yeah, obviously we don't know what injury it is, but it seems like the players that are suffering from recurring injuries have had the longest time out. Thomas Partey having a recurring injury, so Jesus with the knee, recurring injury. Emile Smith-Rowe, again, he's been out for a long time, and it's frustrating because obviously all us Arsenal fans want to see these players play, but injuries are riddled right now amongst our players.
I mean, you just said, it's almost like I'm even forgetting it. No Jesus either, Again, still out, So it is a bit worrying with his injuries. But I don't know, we haven't seen any report on it. Is it, sometimes there could be a sickness, like a couple of players are sick or something, I don't know.
Yeah, true.
But it's worrying. Smith-Rowe one's worrying, and the Jesus one is very worrying. That's 2 games now that he's been out. These are important games that he's missing. So that means that injury can't be great, that he's missing these big important games. Obviously, we want to get him back right. But listen, I think I heard James say it. There's enough there to win this game. It's not like we ain't been all season missing players. So, even missing it the whole season. So there's enough players and there's a lot of firepower on that pitch. Got to take our chances. The thing that we didn't do the last time we played them at home, got to take those chances. We need a win over here. Everybody's just looking forward, hopefully, to a win. Of course, Kudos, who plays for West Ham's got a lot of support from the Ghanaians, but for him personally. But they want us to win this game, and we need it after yesterday's results. None of them went our way, so we need a win.
Yeah, absolutely. Now we're going to be talking to you throughout the watch along the match as well. Go enjoy it. Amazing watch party running over there. Look forward to seeing all the scenes when, of course, we will score. I've definitely jinxed it, but hey ho. But I've got to ask you both very quickly before you go: who's sick of who yet? Have you two you killed each other yet? No, you're all getting on. I mean, Robbie, I don't know why you booked yourself a week with Cecil, but fair enough.
Yeah, no, it's been murder. Listen, over here at the moment it's about 35 degrees. You can see behind us. The sun's actually beaming down. He's got a jacket on. I think everywhere we're walking, people are looking and going, this guy's crazy. He's off his head.
I saw him wear a jacket without a top under.
No, it is hot. It is hot. Yeah, no, I wore a jacket before that.
At least the sleeves are rolled up, man. Do you know what I mean?
But yeah, man.
His sleeves are rolled up.
I'm ventilating in the right areas. I'm ventilating.
That's what I'm talking about, man. His sleeves are rolled up. This guy thinks he's on a fashion show. You know what I mean? Let me put this jacket on because maybe people here ain't got it.
It's nice.
Right?
It's nice.
You don't need a jacket, man. It's 35 degrees.
It looks good though, like.
No. You look crazy. You look like you're off your head.
No, it's been good.
Guys in the studio ain't got a jacket on. You know what I mean? Look how hot it is.
Yeah, I know. It is warm.
It's been a difficult week, guys. Really tough.
I'm not going to say it has been a difficult week because I want to be coming on more trips. So it's been amazing with Robbie. It's all good. It has actually been incredible. But, yeah, it's a bit mad.
Guys, we'll speak to you. We'll speak to you soon. Go enjoy the watch party. We'll chat to you throughout as well. Enjoy the match. Oh, we didn't get score predictions quickly from the two of you. We're going to need them. Go on.
I'm going 3-1. 3-1 Arsenal.
3-1 from Robbie, Cess?
I'm going 2-1. I'm going to stick with my score prediction. The lineup has maybe a little bit more nervous, but I still think we can get the job done. We've got enough quality on there, so 2-1.
Both backing Arsenal wins. Go enjoy. Catch you all in a bit.
Big up, guys.
Great to hear from them as well. Go check out all the content. Cecil attending Ghana Fashion Weeks. That's the official.
I like Robbie's top as well,
AFTV account. Yeah, look cool. Yeah,
didn't get any credit for that one.
Did some great
Can
work.
I ask an invisible question and no one wants to mention?
Go on.
Does anybody remember a player called Fabio Vieira? Anyone know where he is?
I mean,
is he lost?
Just linked to that. They were talking about injuries, yeah? Timber, Tomiyasu, Zinchenko.
All left backs.
But you're also looking at Partey, Smith-Rowe, Jesus. I've just named 6. Vieira, okay, 7. I've just named 7, all of whom are either nailed on first teamers or rotational first teamers, yeah? But we still look at the 11 we've managed to put out and say that should really be enough to get a result here. So that is better squad depth than we've had over the years, right? Because these are all very, very good players, and I'm still not looking at that team and going, oh no.
Yeah, but we'll look at the bench, Roy. What's going to have to happen? If we're knocking on the door and then David Moyes is doing a David Moyes, who are we going to bring on to make it change?
I hear it. I think it's a good
Eddie
point.
and Reece Nelson again. And it's like, that ain't enough, is it? So
fair point.
It's a worry, man. And listen, it is unlucky. You've just mentioned players there that some people have actually forgotten about. Fabio Vieira being one of them, right?
I had actually. It's really bad.
It's crazy, isn't it? And you look at it and you think, we've actually got the players that are in the similar positions that are injured together. So, and I know it was crazy to send Kieran Tierney out on loan, but we have still got Timber, Kivior, Tomiyasu and Zinchenko that can all play there, 3 of which are out. Thomas Partey, we don't know what's happening with him. Jesus, we've not been mentioned. A lot of people were surprised not to see him on the bench today. Likewise with Emil Smith-Rowe. That's got to be an injury, James. There is no way Badara, or whatever the hell his name is getting ahead of Smith-Rowe, right? So for me, there's a worry when Rule Waters and that Bandara are on the bench. That's squad depth is problems, man.
Yeah, see, you mentioned the Fabio Vieira injury. And maybe this is wrong of me. Maybe I shouldn't treat them any differently. I'm more forgiving, Lucy, when it's players that have. Fabio Vieira hasn't had a terrible injury record. He had one injury when he arrived, then he was largely fit, and now he's got another one. But he's had a sustained spell out, and he's clearly nursing that injury. For me, it's the players that come back, give you a couple of games, they're out. Give you a couple of games, they're out. Give you a couple of games, they're out. Jesus, Thomas Partey, Emil Smith-Rowe, Zinchenko, Tomiyasu. That's 5 off the bat there I can mention.
It's more of an indication as to how much you can rely upon them going forward. That's the problem.
For me,
it's just inconsistency.
For me, none of them should be at the end of the summer transfer window. When I'm listing our best 11, I said this a couple of weeks ago. None of them should be in our best 11. They should all have a good part to play in the squad, but none of them should be in our best 11 because you can't build a best 11 of players you can't rely on to be fit.
No, literally. I think as well with Jesus, that's the one that sticks out for me because we've obviously now got Trossard. We all thought Havertz was going to be. There's so many. It's so unpredictable at top that yes, I guess that could work in our favour with opposition. Like the defence doesn't really know what to do, how to react. But it's almost as if we don't know how to react and we don't know what we're actually doing as well because we're changing it too much. And I think it's just quite confusing for the other players as well because obviously we say Martinelli works better with Jorginho. So then why is Jorginho not playing in the midfield? Like it's just I'm not a huge fan of this lineup, I'm going to be real, because I don't really understand the partnerships that are going to come from this, and Rice needs that support at the back, and Kivior's not going to give it to him. Like he just... I'm actually quite frustrated with it. I don't get it.
You're so right about the partnerships. We progressed so well against Liverpool with Zinni and Jorginho in there to help us, make our way up the pitch. And now it's a big task for Kivior and Havertz. Let me just give you some updates, by the way. Max AFTV in the comments, he prompted me to have a little look here, and he said that Emil Smith-Rowe turned his ankle in training. That is the quote from Mikel Arteta.
What do they do in training, man?
I don't know. And this is what annoys me. Comments like this from Ash says, "Cry when we lose, not before we lose, guys. Come on." Ash, the thing is,
that's too pessimistic.
Don't want to be thinking when we lose, but also that then all football conversations should just be results based. Just look at the results and then talk about it. Yeah. We're not. Everyone goes, crying again, always moaning. We're not moaning. We're we are, but we're not. We're not like, all hope is lost. We're going to lose. That's the end. I've given up today. We're just really frustrated that players we thought were going to be available aren't.
Just raise concerns, man. That's all you do. You look at the bench, and I'm looking at Cedric, no. Walters, nah. Bandera, nah. El Neni, nah. Nelson, we've seen it before. Ethan Waneri, maybe, but not yet. Eddie Nketiah, nah. So really, there's only Jorginho there that can come on and do anything from the bench.
And on that, if you have Jorginho starting, you either have Havertz or Trossard on the bench, both of whom are actually decent impact players off the bench this season, right? So that's why if you're not going to bring Georgie on really.
There's no impact players. That's what you said.
That's the thing. Whereas if Jorginho started, the balance of the bench looks a bit better too.
Yeah, you're right.
That's the frustration.
Suddenly you chuck on Havertz at 20.
It's like they're all there now, and if it don't work, there's nothing. You've got to stick with it because there's nothing to change other than Jorginho coming on and changing our shape. Listen, this is what I've said. Look, we do not need more players. We need to upgrade on some of the ones we've got. Yeah. So Reece Nelson, love the kid. Would love to see it work. Ain't gonna. If I put
I liked his cameo against Liverpool. I just want to say that.
Fair play. I've liked some of his cameos. Yeah. If you put Pedro Neto into the mix, he gets injured all the time, but he's a better footballer than Reece Nelson, right? If you put Ivan Toney into the mix, he's a better player than Eddie Nketiah. So you get rid of those two players and upgrade upon them. You don't add them to Reece and to Eddie, right?
Yeah, I agree.
And that's what we've got to be doing in the summer for me now.
Yeah.
It's time.
Totally and utterly agree. There was a comment here from Invisible Wall to round it off. I think it's a nice way to round off. He's asking if Sharoy has a channel. I know you've started one very recently. Sharoy's Voice. Content to come?
Definitely. For anyone that's wondering, the 5 people that are probably wondering, it's literally just been put on hold because I've moved house and job at the same time, and that is taking up a lot of my spare time. And I want to get the channel right.
All these excuses, man.
When I get there, I will do it properly because I'm a little bit of a perfectionist. But I appreciate you asking. It means a lot.
Absolutely. And of course, Dan, tell them where they can find you as well.
Big up, man, and big up to you, Sharoy, man. You need on your own channel, 100%, man. So make sure you do that, people. Sharoy's voice, Football's 12th Man. If you want to come and follow myself, Football's 12th Man podcast, then please do. Thank you, James.
And Lucy as well.
I don't have a channel, but it's just on socials, just Loose Chat Sport, literally just on Instagram and TikTok. So, yeah.
There you go. Darren AFC says, Vieira is made of Weetabix. That's harsh, man. All those other players out. The guy's one medium to long-term injury, and everyone's anyway. Everyone, we haven't done score predictions quickly. Sorry. Or should we? Do you know what? I'm going to say it for the watch song, so we'll get Frank's in as well. So we'll save it for then. Everyone will be back in about half an hour's time. I don't know why I can't tell the time today. Anyway, I'm just like, what time are we back? Anyway, we'll see you very soon. Catch you all in a bit.